The UFC just unveiled the March pay-per-view event in the most unceremonious of ways. This was completely insane. I didn't even believe it at first, but apparently somebody messed up, and on the T-Mobile Arena, they plastered the side of the building with a gigantic fight announcement. Jon Jones is set to face Ciryl Gane in his comeback fight for not the interim title, but the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Yes, that's right. That means Francis Ngannou is no longer a UFC fighter. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest bombshells that could have been dropped in the MMA world, and it gets leaked by accident. This is absolutely insane. And now we have two major storylines that I know everybody's going to be talking about. First things first, we have Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane, an amazing matchup. I'm super excited for this, and honestly, I have no idea who's going to win this one. I'm pretty sure right when the fight announcement happened, Jon Jones was a 2-1 favorite, but I think there's a lot of things you can look at to point towards Jon Jones potentially losing this fight. We all know he did not look great in his last fight against Dominic Reyes. Arguably, he lost that fight. Now, coming back after a 3-year layoff, going up to a whole nother weight division, fighting a guy in Ciryl Gane who is the greatest striker in the history of the UFC's heavyweight division. And other than Gustafsson, this is really the first time Jon Jones has had to fight somebody roughly his size, and Ciryl Gane is a natural heavyweight. Now, of course, we have to mention that there is a hole in Ciryl Gane's game. Ciryl Gane is not a tremendous wrestler. We saw him in his one and only loss in MMA get completely out-wrestled by Francis Ngannou, a guy who is not known as a great wrestler. But by that same token, Francis Ngannou is one of the biggest heavyweights of all time with not an ounce of fat on his body. I do think Jon Jones has a chance at performing a similar game plan, completely out-wrestling Ciryl, but I don't know how Jon Jones is going to handle Ciryl Gane on the feet when he had serious problems with Dominic Reyes. Couple that with the fact that I'm sure Ciryl Gane's been working very hard on his wrestling ever since that loss to Francis Ngannou, so we're probably going to see a much improved Ciryl Gane on the ground. I think this is a tremendous fight, one of the most exciting fights that I've seen being made in the heavyweight division in a very long time. I'm super excited to see Jon Jones come back. But of course, now we have to talk about Francis Ngannou is no longer on the UFC roster. Reportedly, Dana White offered Francis Ngannou more money than any other heavyweight in the history of the company, and Francis still turned it down. It's a little early to call, but I think Francis is making a mistake. So we all know there's 3 suitable options for Francis Ngannou at this moment: Bellator, one championship, and now the PFL. While I'm sure all of these guys are ready to throw all kinds of money at Francis, each one comes with a very unique set of problems. Bellator, for instance, I'm sure they could offer him really good money, but let's be honest, nobody pays attention to Bellator anywhere close to the UFC. Francis has a chance of going out there, fighting lesser competition, and if he were to lose, all of a sudden that takes all the shine away from him. Next, ONE FC. ONE FC could be a good option for Francis. ONE FC is very globally well known, just not super popular in the United States. And they have shown a willingness to let fighters fight in other disciplines. They've even hosted a world championship boxing match in the past. So if Francis is serious about boxing and doing MMA, ONE FC might be the only promotion that can allow him to fight high-level competition in MMA as well as boxing. Next is the PFL. The PFL is a very interesting choice for Francis Ngannou. I'm sure he's looking at their new super fight division where he can make 50% of the pay-per-view, but let's be honest, 50% of 0 is still 0. The PFL is still the PFL. Not many people are going to be tuning in to watch the PFL, and there's just no chance he's going to fight anyone that's going to get him anywhere close to the amount of pay-per-views as a Francis Ngannou-Jon Jones fight would. Though they will give him the opportunity to box in his contract, I could also see him wanting to be in the PFL to be a part of what looks to be a bit of a change, a cultural shift in MMA, giving more power to the fighters. So this might be more of a legacy play for Francis. Overall, I'm still very interested to see how this story develops and where Francis ends up signing. No matter where he goes, it's going to be an absolute bombshell. Let me know in the comments below, where do you think Francis Ngannou is going to sign next, and who do you think wins, Jon Jones or Ciryl Gane? Thanks for watching.